And joining me is best-selling author, fitness, and of course, nutrition expert Rujuta Devekar. Rujuta, thank you so much for talking to us.
Oh, thank you so much, Pooja. Thanks a lot.
And we live in times where keto, paleo are our new best friends, and carb cycling, everyone wants to pedal away on it. What do you have to say to these new trends that we are now slaves to?
Well, I think that any diet that has a name is not worth being on. It's like deciding which girl to marry based on how thin she is or how fair she is or whether or not she was convent educated and English speaking. So there has to be much more in a person before you decide to be with them, and similarly there has to be much more in a diet than just something that has a name. So go by what is in season, go by what belongs to your region, and also eat according to the occasion. That's the only way that you can be on a sustainable diet, and only sustainable diets that are successful at helping you losing that weight and keeping it off. Every other diet may help you lose weight, but it's going to climb back on your body. So if you really want to lose weight, keep it off, it needs to be a sustainable diet, and a sustainable diet has no name.
Also, Rujuta, these days, without getting themselves tested, people say they are lactose intolerant, they're gluten intolerant, and intermittent fasting is the best way for them to lose weight, and also detox diets. I mean, just have milk and bananas the whole day, have bread the whole day, and or maybe just have fruits the whole day. What do you have to say to that?
Well, again, it's the same thing, I mean, they have names and they are built on either avoiding a certain nutrient or eating more of another kind of a nutrient. And as long as we keep looking at our food only from the point of view of nutrients, we are going to be making the same mistake, but in a new version. It's like, what is it called, the same wine but in a new bottle. So we are going to be doing the same thing. So what we need to do is ensure that every time that we are eating, we are not just doing things which build our health, but we are also doing things that help improve the local economy and also preserve global ecology. So eating right has to be much more ambitious than what it currently is. It's not about just knocking off some weight, but it's really about making the world a better place. And you make the world a better place when you're happy with what you're eating. And when you just stick to the basics and eat at home and eat on time, that's also when you look after all of the good bacteria or the microorganisms or the probiotic bacteria that live within your body. And once you have enough of those and you maintain the strength and diversity of these microorganisms, then you also don't have any kind of infections or intolerances or allergies. So it's really about going back to basics, not listening to the dietitian, but listening to your dadi and nani.
Also, Rujuta, our problem with working people is that they finish work very late. They get home, like, say, by 9 o'clock, and they have their dinner at 10. And usually it's prescribed that your last meal should be around sunset, like around 7 p.m. or latest by 8. So what should people in such situations do, that who work late and, who work shifts?
Well, I really think that one of the things that our work culture or our offices need to do is work at serving a good wholesome meal to its employees, especially between 6 and 8 in the evening. So anything that's like a poha or a upma or paratha or dal chawal, these are things that need to become available to us within our offices and workspaces to really ensure that the young working people don't gain 5 or 7 kilos of weight just within the very first year of working, or that increasing wealth because of a good career is not leading to depletion of health. So a good meal at office space, or if your office is lax, then maybe you being proactive and carrying a little extra during lunch, in your lunch dabba, so that you can have a little bit of roti sabzi or roti jaggery and ghee between 4 and 6 p.m. That way you can get back home, still have your dinner and not feel bloated or heavy to go off to bed.
Brown rice, white rice, unpolished rice, which is the best form of rice to consume?
I think the one thing that needs to happen within our education and schooling is that we all need to start learning about agriculture right from the time that we are in school, because we all discuss food so often, but we are also disconnected with our farms and with our land where we actually grow food. So if we did study agriculture as a part of school, then we would know that one of the things which is integral to rice farming is pounding of rice, after it's harvested. So that's actually a process where you turn brown rice into white rice, the grain which is looking brown into a grain which is looking more whitish, with maybe a few strands of brown or few strands of red, depending on the seed of the rice that was planted. So that's the kind of rice that you should be eating, either hand pounded or single polished rice, and not unpolished or brown rice, because then if you do eat rice which is not single polished or hand pounded, then you're eating so much fiber that it's coming in the way of your mineral absorption.
Now, there is this one question that everybody has asked me. Post 40, how do you get rid of the belly fat?
Post 40, I think that's possibly a question that we have even when we are post 20 or post 60. And the one big reason that we all have big bellies, so you'll see this, all the rich people of developing countries like ours begin to gain a whole lot of weight around the midriff. And that's because, our governments are not giving us the kind of mass transport and footpaths that we deserve, so that we can actually walk our way from school to home, or from a railway station to our workspaces. So one of the things that needs to happen is, as citizens, we should be allowed to move much more freely on our road, and also in a much safer fashion. So we need footpaths and mass transport so that we can be more on our feet. In terms of our work, we should be standing up for 3 minutes for every 30 minutes of sitting down. And we also need to adopt at least 150 minutes of exercise per week into our routine, so that we actually develop the strength in our lower body to have a flat stomach. So there's a lot that all of us who are above 40 need to do.
Also, Rujuta, which is a doable diet that people should follow? That's not, adhering to some principle or the other, but just a basic diet so that one doesn't gain weight and also is getting the essential nutrients.
The diet which their grandmother approves, I think that's the kind of diet that each one of us needs to be on if we have to make gains on our health and not really lose out on our glow or on the density and volume of our hair. So eat on time, eat the food that is in season, and every time that you're eating, make sure that you're not watching TV or you're not on your phone or reading a magazine and stuff like that. So just keep all your focus on food and eat. That's actually a long-term sustainable way of staying fit and healthy.